join me in singing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red where the walls bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good morning. I'm Peter Stern, Vice Chairperson of the Champlain Board of Trustees. It's my honor to welcome fellow trustees, administrators, staff, and faculty, and soon-to-be graduates, their families and friends, to the master's degree hooding ceremony and commencement. This is the 11th time in the 136-year history of the college that we gather to recognize graduates of the master's degree program. On behalf of the trustees, I congratulate the 81 students here today completing graduate degrees at Champlain College. I also congratulate all of you who have supported these students through their graduate work and today in their accomplishments. Finally, I also commend the members of the Champlain College community whose vision for graduate education at Champlain has become a thriving reality, as represented by the accomplishments of these fine candidates. Today we honor these students with a hooding ceremony and the conferring of their master's degree. Dr. Robin Abramson, the provost, will later explain significance of this traditional ceremony. Let us take a moment to give thanks for the blessings of this day as we gather here to celebrate and acknowledge our students' accomplishments. We give thanks to the families, employers, and other supporters who have helped this day come possible for these Champlain College graduates. May we heed the experience and learning of those who came before us, that we may be the wiser as we move forward. May we offer a helping hand, a kind word of advice, and a moment of peace to those who follow us in this path of higher education. We ask for the patience and guidance to use our knowledge to bring about peaceful, respectful, and important change in the world. In the years ahead, we ask that our actions be tempered with grace, wisdom, and forethought as we strive to make our world a better place. Amen.
Please be seated. My name is David Finney. I'm the president of the college. Welcome, one and all. It's my honor right now to introduce our student speaker representing this class of 2014. Lisa Murphy has been in the field of early childhood education for over 20 years. She's written 4 books and is the founder and CEO of an educational consulting firm and presents internationally on various topics related to early childhood education. She has been busy. She joins us today from home in Rochester, New York. Lisa.
Thank you. Hello. How are you? Good. My name is Lisa Murphy, and I'm a published author, a podcaster, a teacher, a respected advocate of play in the lives of young children. I'm an international lecturer and am, according to some, considered an expert in the field of early childhood education. Yet my credentials, credibility, and expertise could not shield me from the slow and steady flirtation I began with the idea of going to grad school. It began rather innocently as I began courting many programs, weighing the pros and cons of MA versus MS versus MED, online versus brick and mortar, considering the implications of even moving my family and my business across the country to pursue this somewhat selfish goal. But it wasn't until prospectus after prospectus started coming to the house in the mailbox that my husband started to get suspicious. During this time, I attended a play research conference in Albuquerque and at the time, was approached by one of our esteemed Champlain professors. And she approached me in the parking lot, and she happened to know that I was looking. So influenced was I by her glowing reviews of Champlain, and so swayed by her description of the online Masters in Early Childhood Education program, and so seduced by her well-crafted yet honest and enthusiastic answers to my queries, that there in the parking lot, for 45 minutes, while my car was still running, mind you, the doors were open, my bags had not yet been unpacked, the verbal exchange that transpired transformed my innocent courtship with the idea of going to grad school into a reality. Shortly thereafter, I applied, was accepted, received financial aid, and officially took grad school as my mistress. I don't know about you, but I completely underestimated how needy and high maintenance she would be. Many of us allowed a demanding stranger to not only enter our lives, but to take it over. It was an intense, passionate, challenging roller coaster ride of emotions, not just for us, the students, but our families, our friends, our significant others, our business partners, our employers, our children, our dogs. She came in fast and furious, this hungry beast of a grad school mistress, altering existing habits and routines and schedules and the systems that we had all had in place for so long that gave us consistency and stability. It all shifted to meet her demands. Not the least of which was her requirement of a room of her own. Countless dining room tables turned into her boudoir, and we found ourselves spending hours there. Hours that a week before we would have claimed that we did not have, yet somehow we were now finding to share with her. There were secret words and phrases, status updates started including hashtags of "I'm on the homework train," and Club MED, Club Med, which signaled to my family and to my friends that I was unavailable for anyone except her. There were midnight paper rendezvous, leaving parties to have dates with discussion boards. Assignment deadlines took precedent over the laundry, the lawn, the shoveling of the snow, the dirty dishes. We swapped, "I'd love to," with "thanks, but I gotta study." We missed birthday parties, soccer games, cheer camp, bowling league banquets, yet had passionate, intimate, self-disclosing email exchanges with complete strangers from around the world. There were books in the bed. And all of a sudden, previously unnecessary separate email accounts were required to be opened and checked constantly. Packing for the trips to fulfill our residency requirements were met with, "You are coming back, right?" And the emotional outrage when Angel turned into Canvas and we screamed in frustration and got blank stares of confusion from our family members, yet received understanding and comfort from online classmates we'd never met. Notes of "I'm at the library" solicited heavy sighs of "again?" And many spouses were seen crying after discovering telltale highlighter stains on shirts in the laundry room. This thing had entered our lives, and for all the stress she caused and the rigor she demanded, she was still tolerated. And we shifted to accommodate her because we, all of us, everyone, the students and our families, our friends, everybody impacted, knew in the end it would all be worth it. We chose to make a back-breaking initial investment because we were confident that it would pay us back. For some, the decision to dally with this paramour was well thought out, planned, and a premeditated choice. For some, it was more spontaneous and perhaps even impulsive. And for others, it was a slow, steady flirtation that quickly escalated into infatuation. Regardless, we chose to make room for it temporarily. We temporarily chose to put everything on pause as we catered to the mistress who insisted we give her time and attention as she pushed us out of our academic, personal, and professional comfort zones and demanded patience and sacrifice from everyone involved. And then, just as quickly as we found ourselves entangled in her desires, it ended, resulting in a collective, audible sigh of relief. So whether your grad school romance was 18 months, 2 years, 5, or 10, we gather today to commemorate the conclusion of our hashtag Club Med love affairs and our 4 a.m. trips on the hashtag homework trains. And today we turn our attention back to those of you who assisted, encouraged, and otherwise tolerated not only our grad school journey, but the stranger that you allowed us to bring into our homes. Today we celebrate our accomplishments and your support, because as cheesy as it sounds, we, the master's degree graduates of Champlain College, could not have done it without you. And for that, we will be forever grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, Lisa, if in recruitment we engaged in full disclosure, we would be out of the grad business. So you have to cut us a little bit of slack there. Today, from the ranks of our alumni, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Lanaya Sandberg, who is Head of Strategy and Chief of Staff for a National Medicaid Managed Care organization. She is responsible for the development and implementation of the organization's strategic and annual operating plans, which provide a broad roadmap needed to achieve the organization's goals. Lanaya is currently pursuing her doctorate in business administration with a concentration in healthcare management. She has earned a bachelor's and count them, two master's degrees from Champlain. She currently lives in Tempe, Arizona. She loves to run, play soccer, and hike. Please welcome alumnus speaker Lanaya Sandberg.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be with you today at our master's commencement from a college that is near and dear to my heart for the last 12 years. I have witnessed firsthand Champlain's tremendous growth and evolution in the past decade. I am grateful and proud, as I am sure you all are, to have had the opportunity to contribute to the academic body of knowledge of this institution. One of my goals for today is to be a source of inspiration for you. My story is a story of age and determination and its limitless potential. If I can influence just one person here to think differently, to challenge the assumptions they hold, then I have achieved this goal. It is amazing to think how far I have developed professionally in the past year. It is a humbling, remarkable reflection for me. I don't think a master's degree in itself equates to success, but rather the newfound intelligence and perspectives that result from the rigors of pursuing a master's degree. In the near future, you may not be able to identify a clear cause and effect relationship in terms of career mobility and advancement. But I wholeheartedly believe that doors will open for you that otherwise may not have. There are 4 tenets that I would like to share with you, which are the importance of being receptive to new ideas, perseverance, reflective thought, and taking the time to learn the personality types of those you interact with. I have found the most profound learning moments in my life have been influenced by the application of these tenets. We are all very familiar with these, but few people actually live day in and day out by them. The first tenet revolves around the importance of being open to new opportunities and determination. I suggest that you develop a professional roadmap that will guide you to achieve your goals, while remaining flexible to any unforeseeable deviations, as they could be a blessing in disguise. Try not to discredit the potential of a lateral move. I am often disheartened when someone chooses not to pursue a new lateral move because it doesn't offer the monetary compensation or title they are immediately looking for. While try to always focus on the big picture, your long-term goals, and be patient while trying to be receptive to any opportunities that could better position you to achieve your professional vision. The second tenet focuses on the value of persistence. We are master's graduates. Empirical research classifies the majority of us as type A personality. We constantly aim to raise the bar, pushing and pushing ourselves to no reprieve. Despite all of our successes, and however far we may excel up the career ladder, we are all bound to stumble at one point or another. If we are continually raising the bar, according to the gambler's fallacy, past events do not change the probability that particular events could occur in the future. You will at some point stumble, either momentarily or for an indefinite period. Failure by definition and connotation has a negative implication, but I like to think in more liberal terms, as failure is the creation of an alternative opportunity, existence forcing you in a different direction or to become stronger. Confucius wrote in the Analects, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in getting up every time we do." This is a powerful quote that I hope will provide inspiration to you in times of hardship. The third tenet calls to light our own mental models and the big assumptions we hold when making decisions, and how this can impede our professional development. Your focus should lay not on the decisions themselves, but your thought process and suppositions that influence these decisions. In other words, thinking about how you are thinking. There is nothing of greater importance than leaders promoting cultures whereby all levels of employees are encouraged to ponder what they are doing and why they are doing it, rather than just following the status quo. We must overcome Kant's transcendentalism idealism, which suggests that we inherit mental constructs that hinder us from seeing the world from other perspectives. We are all very familiar with this dominant discourse through Champlain's IRP, or Integrated Reflective Practice Framework, and I hope that you apply its principles for years to come. One of the biggest aha moments for me in my career thus far has been the value and importance of learning the personality types of my colleagues, the basis for my fourth tenet. Taking the time to figure out what makes people tick and altering your behavior to facilitate their preferences is truly an art, albeit extremely challenging, but can forever change the way you look at and relate to people. The more you use this technique, the better you will become at it, and it can contribute significantly to your level of social intelligence, which is now a must-have for any leader. No longer will technical skills alone suffice. Leaders from even the largest organizations have been let go because they possessed all the technical skills for the position, but lacked imperative social skills, such as empathy, compassion, and understanding. The bar for leaders is continuously being raised, but you can rise to meet this challenge. As we gather here today to celebrate our tireless studies and the closing of this period of our lives, we would be doing a disservice if we did not take the time to thank all of our friends, family, significant others, and loved ones for their patience, support, and understanding along every step of this journey. Please join me in applauding them. Once again, from the bottom of my heart, I would like to thank you all for allowing me to be part of the conclusion of this chapter of your lives and the commencement of the next chapter. The hard work has only just begun, but you are now better equipped to tackle all the opportunities and challenges that lay ahead. My congratulations to the class of 2014.
So how's everybody doing today? Members of the Champlain College community, welcome. Today we are gathered to honor the 82 members of this class of 2014 for all the hard work that has been described very well. Congratulations. Now today, before the mood becomes too celebratory, I want to pause for a bit to remember some people who are not here. Like many here who attended colleges in the 60s and the 70s, you graduates have watched members of your generation fight an unpopular war. Popular or not, the sacrifices that they have made and that they continue to make reflect their courage and commitment to this great country. In my 9 years as president, this is the third commencement in which we have not been at war in Iraq, and we rejoice in that. But our servicemen and women remain in Afghanistan. As of this past week, 2,220 of those serving in Afghanistan have made the ultimate sacrifice. All of our lives are diminished as a result. So could you please stand for a minute as we pause for a moment of silence to honor those who have served, and in particular, those who have fallen. Thank you. Please be seated. It is always gratifying for me to see so many of our distinguished faculty attend commencement. As you graduate students know full well, Champlain's faculty are passionate about teaching and learning. All of them take delight in recounting stories of when this or that graduate grasped a particularly difficult concept. They love to make a difference in the lives of their students, and for me, it continues to be a privilege to call these committed professionals my colleagues. Now, I have been around colleges for a long time, and I want to second Lanaya's notion that if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: not one of today's graduates got here alone. All of them received support and encouragement of someone close to them. So I especially want to thank and salute the families, the partners, and special friends who supported these graduate students. Congratulations to you all, and thanks for your perseverance. It is a sacrifice to pursue graduate work, and it's an honor to be here today with so many of you who have sacrificed so much to get to this point. I am joined by the entire faculty in how impressed we have been by you. Now, in a few moments, you graduates are going to join me up here on stage to receive the symbols of your degree, your hood and your diploma. The wording on the diploma you're about to receive says that as a Champlain graduate, you are, quote, entitled to all the rights and privileges which pertain thereto, quote. Surely you've learned by now that every right comes with a responsibility and every privilege is accompanied by an obligation to serve. This is one more thing, Lisa, we did not tell you when we were recruiting you to attend Champlain. That when you were finished, we would expect you to be responsible and upstanding citizens, active servants in the communities in which you live. But we do expect it of you because in addition to the community where you will live, you are also now a member of a larger community of learned people. Your membership in that community comes with high expectations indeed. You already know it isn't easy. This life you are living does not come equipped with a roadmap. So, and since this is a graduation, I've got two small pieces of advice for you about how you might manage these rights and privileges. The first is simply this: treat yourself fairly. Work hard because you will feel good about it, and when you have worked well, be sure that someone knows about it. David Ogilvy of the giant advertising agency Ogilvy and Mather expressed this principle with the following jingle: the codfish lays 10,000 eggs, the homely hen lays one. The codfish never cackles to tell you what she's done. And so we scorn the codfish, while the humble hen we prize. It only goes to show that it pays to advertise. Let people know what you're doing. The second piece of advice is to remember the larger community to which you now belong. As the owner of a new grad degree, you're among the elite of your generation. With this status comes an obligation to your community, an obligation to give something back. Think about your community and your place in it. Think about what it needs. Think about what divides it. Understand that there are always shades of gray to any issue that divides people, and that important issues can virtually never be described accurately in black and white terms. That certitude of this type is the antithesis of true knowledge, and therefore the antithesis of understanding and acceptance. Respect diversity in all its many forms. Give generously of yourself. Your community really needs you. We all need you. Chekhov said that man is what he believes. I urge you to believe that you are the difference. And so, daughters and sons of Champlain, you've earned a master's degree. I know that my hopes for you are no higher than those you have for yourselves. I wish you all the best in attaining those dreams. Congratulations. Godspeed to each and every one of you. It is now my honor at this time to introduce our commencement speaker, Dr. Janine Allo. Janine is a familiar face as she has worked with our undergrad students for the last 5 years with our graduate students. Her son Leaf just finished his junior year at Champlain, so you can see Janine is well connected to our campus, even though now she lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. Janine, welcome back home.
Good morning. I am honored and so very excited to be here to speak with you today. When I was asked, let me move this a second here. Okay. When I was asked, I reflected on my own graduate commencement ceremonies. There were two distinctly different events in my life. One changed my life. The first graduate ceremony was almost exactly 30 years ago in Cambridge, Massachusetts, when I graduated with my master's. I was eager to start my career, and having studied with phenomenal leaders in business and education. However, what I remember most is who was there with me. I remember my grandmother sitting there in the blazing heat. We all remember the weather, by the way. She was wiping sweat from her brow. I remember my mother, who was extremely proud of me because I was the first in the family to go to college. And then here I was getting an advanced degree. I also remember my mother telling me many, many times before that I could achieve whatever I wanted to in life. My feeling was deep gratitude for my family and friends. And that memory is a reminder that today is truly about you and the people who are here with you, whether in the room or in your heart. Feel proud of your accomplishment. And feel the gratitude you have for each and every one of the people who have supported you in getting here. You'll hear this theme over and over again because it's true. These thoughts brought up questions for me. What do I have to share? I know many of you through my experience at Champlain. I know you're smart and talented. Many of you are already leaders in your career and life. What can I possibly say to make an impact? I'm not famous. I'm not extraordinary. I'm living an extraordinary life. My career lets me witness and guide people and companies through transformations. I guide individual, organizational, and societal change towards simple, sustainable, and compassionate living. This is my purpose. It's deeply authentic and rewarding. To learn, to lead, to love, to grow, and to serve, while maintaining a deep connection to my purpose, has offered me the opportunity for more success and joy than I ever thought possible. I certainly did not walk away from commencement knowing this. And I did not recognize that this was my purpose until after my second career was finished. Get ready. It's very likely you'll have several career changes in your life. Graduation is more about the beginning of a new chapter than the ending of one. My graduation advice to you is this: be an alchemist. The word alchemist means that which is poured out and is defined as the transmutation of baser metals into gold. Transmutation is not a surface change. It is a deep, at the source, transformation. An alchemist pours oneself out into the world through their unique personal expression and turns their life and others into gold. Many of you may be familiar with the book, The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's sold more than 65 million copies, and it's in 56 different languages. It's one of the best-selling books in history, and just last week hit 300 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. It's the tale of a Spanish shepherd boy who ventures to Egypt in search of his destiny. It's the timeless story of struggle, victory, and return home. It speaks to the universal language of transformation. I have read the book countless times, and it continues to serve as an inspirational guide to my own change processes. Change is what propels us forward in life. So here are my 6 tips to be an alchemist. I invite you to take this journey with me, one where self-knowledge meets heart-led action to lead you to your treasure. Tip number 1, be grateful. Be grateful for all you have, all of it, imperfect, complicated, taxing, all of it. Life is a gift. Appreciate everything, especially the ordinary. The alchemist says thank you every single day. Tip number 2, be connected to the people around you. We simply cannot be successful without other people at home or at work. A couple of weeks ago, I heard former President Bill Clinton speak. He shared a story about E.O. Wilson. Wilson is a historian and a biologist who studied the history of species across time. He found there are only a handful of species that have survived: ants, termites, bees, and humans. And it's because of their reliance on others. Mr. Clinton noted that there was evidence here that we all need networks of creative cooperation to survive. He added that people hold the greatest promise because we have consciousness and conscience. He is optimistic, as am I, that we can solve the world's greatest problems through our relationships if we act on the knowledge that we are all connected. The alchemist acts on the knowledge that success is about cooperative relationships. Tip number 3, be you. Who are you, really? Let me share a brief exercise that I learned in a workshop with mindfulness guru Jon Kabat-Zinn. It was a long time ago, however, it has stuck. Take a deep breath. Now, watch your thoughts floating about in your mind. What are you thinking? There are thousands upon thousands of very interesting thoughts in the room right now. You might be thinking, what's next in the program? Or, I can't wait until this is over so we can get to the celebration. Or even, my shoes are killing me. Thousands of thoughts. Now, who is observing those thoughts? This is the you. You need to know, the one behind the thinking, the peaceful inner voice. Spend time with this you, your authentic voice, at least once a day, and listen to what it has to say. It will never send you in the wrong direction. Do whatever it takes to hear this voice, as many times a day as possible, through meditation, exercise, prayer, service, mindful living. My deepest listening and ability is to be present occurs when I'm running or hiking. But listening to that inner voice while engaging with the ordinary details of every day is even more essential. The more present I am with myself at every moment of every single day, the more I have to give. Self-knowing does not lead to selfishness. It does lead to empowering selflessness and fullness of life and love that our world desperately needs. Marianne Williamson is often quoted, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." And she ends, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. I love that quote. The alchemist knows who they really are. Be you, the liberated you. The world needs you. Tip number 4, be on purpose. Once you know the real you, pay attention, be present to where your energy moves you. This movement towards increased energy, excitement, and passion is the key to being on purpose. Why are you here? What is your purpose? The poet Rumi says, let yourself be silently drawn by the strong pull of what you really love. I love that strong pull. However, purpose might also make itself known through a strong push. Have you ever had a moment where you knew your life was changed forever? A pivotal moment when you knew that nothing would be the same again? I've had several. The moment in the Cornell lab my senior year of college when I could not put the dog down and my childhood dream to be a veterinarian died. The moments my children were born, the moment the police officer was at my front door to tell me that my father had died. Each one pushed me toward my purpose in a pivotal, raw way. I alluded earlier to a graduate ceremony experience that changed my life. It actually was one of those pivotal moments. 2004, I was at my doctoral graduation ceremony at UVM. We were sitting outside in a line of chairs on Prospect Street, right up here, in a steady rain, remember the weather, all wondering why the ceremony wasn't being held inside. We did not have this lovely tent. I was feeling proud of my accomplishment. My study I had completed on leadership. I was grateful to be surrounded by the love of my family and friends. I had a successful career. I was nationally known as a contributor to changing governmental response to children who experience domestic violence. I worked with fabulously talented and dedicated people seeking to end violence against women and children. I felt a great pride and love. I also felt something else. I felt numb. At that moment, playwright David Mamet began his commencement speech. Have you ever driven down the road and not remembered that you had driven the last mile or two? It's a little scary. You're on autopilot and you're doing what you did through habit or because something was expected of you and it was just so easy not to think about what you were doing? Mr. Mamet then said words that literally woke me up from that dreamlike state. He said, "We all die in the end. There's no reason to stagnate or die in the middle." All of a sudden, I felt shaken awake. I realized I was stagnating, or even worse, I was dying in the middle. Don't get me wrong, I was profoundly grateful to be in public service, and Lord knows we need more people dedicated to ending violence. However, the work was not providing me any opportunity to grow. I was working hard and my work was recognized, but I wasn't growing. Without growth, there is stagnation and death. Ben Franklin's assessment of this is profound. When you are finished changing, you are finished. Mamet's words startled me back into a process of change that inspired me to change from the inside out. And not only with my career, with my whole self. I found self-knowledge was not enough. Ideas are important. Execution is everything. Without action, there is no success. It was not long after that day in the rain that I found my purpose. The alchemist acts on purpose. Tip number 5, be open. In finding and acting on my purpose, I learned how to be vulnerable. Brené Brown, in her famous TED Talk on the power of vulnerability, says, "Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change." Learning to be open and be vulnerable was a challenging and humbling experience for me. I had been very successful in my prior career, yet here I was starting over when most people are settling into their careers. I wanted to return to my Harvard-inspired roots in education and business. I wanted to be a leader in a socially responsible business, one that was growing and where I could have a great impact on people's lives. As a Vermonter, of course, I thought Ben & Jerry's, Magic Hat, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, King Arthur's Flour, maybe, 7th generation. Instead, what opened was a door to Champlain. Champlain was not in my plan. It reminds me of the CEO I worked for, who kept a sticky note on his iPad that said, "Man plans, God laughs." I love that. I was pulled to work at Champlain, a creative, dynamic place. I said yes. Counseling and teaching awesome, wonderful students was a profound blessing. I met remarkable people who are some of my closest colleagues and friends, and my love and connections to them opened up the doors to my next opportunity. I learned to be truly vulnerable and open to all the possibilities. I learned if I trust my purpose and listen to the peaceful inner voice, then what opens up is inevitably better than I ever could imagine. I also learned that sometimes doors close, and when they do, I must be prepared and patient for the next door to open, because it is often just right around the corner. The alchemist is all open and ready for what is next. Luck, as the saying goes, is where preparation meets opportunity. And when opportunity knocks, the alchemist says yes, and I'm ready to be surprised. Tip number 6, be brave. A few weeks ago, I saw the movie Divergent. It's a great alchemist story of a woman named Tris who's searching for her authentic self. There's a line near the end of the movie that shook me and stayed with me. The lead character 4 says to Tris, "Most people shut down with fear, but you're different. Fear wakes you up." I had fallen in love with the character Tris, and now I knew why. Not only was she a fantastic role model for young women, in following her truth fearlessly, she woke up. Fear does paralyze most of us and keeps many of us from living our purpose. I've never ziplined or jumped off buildings. However, I am absolutely moved by the courageous act of any person facing their fears to live their purpose. And we at Champlain have "Let Us Dare" as our motto. How wonderful is that? Let us dare. 2 years ago, I was presented with an opportunity to face my fears. I was invited to move across the country after living in Vermont for 20 years, away from all of my friends and my family, to leave work with incredibly talented people as president of an award-winning marketing company, to work for a company in a totally different industry. I felt vulnerable and scared, yet I was pulled towards the sun, heat, and the beauty of the desert. I was likewise enthralled with the prospect of having a greater influence in a larger, growing company, one whose purpose is to change lives, create traditions, build community, and feed the soul with passion every time, every day. Lovely purpose. So I said yes. Talk about fear. I felt like I was jumping off a building without being able to see the net below. Taking this leap of faith connected me in a deeper way to my peaceful inner voice and brought me to my present place to both grow and to serve. Facing my fears was and is not an easy thing to do. However, I have found there is simply no other way for me to live a meaningful, purposeful life in service to others. I find with each fear I face, I am more excited than scared to dive into whatever is next. I do not always know where that next call to serve will come from. What a gift. As Helen Keller remarked, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. The alchemist is brave, and in facing their fears, they live a daring adventure. So, oddly enough, in preparing for this speech, I found the root of the word graduation refers to the process of alchemy, to temper, refine, or change. Thus, with graduation, we each walk the alchemist's path. It is not easy to change, and it can be downright painful. However, transformation is what leads to success and joy. As graduates today, you have tempered, refined, and changed yourself to pour more out of yourself, of the gold that you already are. If we continue this deep search for self-knowledge and choose heart-led action, we will all be alchemists. The alchemist is the eternal student. Be grateful, be connected, be you, be on purpose. Be open and be brave. Be an alchemist. At this time in our history, we are hungry for lives full of love, connection, and service. That is the real treasure. That is your treasure to behold. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. There. My name is Robin Abramson. I'm the Provost and Chief Academic Officer here at Champlain. One of the most obvious and colorful aspects of academic ceremonies like graduation is the wearing of academic regalia. There are three main components of academic regalia: the robe or gown, the cap, and the hood. Ooh. In order to understand the significance of this hooding ceremony, let me explain a bit about hoods. The academic hood is worn over the graduation gown as part of full academic regalia at graduation and commencement ceremonies. Traditionally, only master's and doctoral candidates wear hoods. You can determine the type of graduate degree by the length and design of the hood. The master's hood is slightly smaller than the doctoral hood. The colors on the hood represent two things. The velvet trim represents a discipline or field of study, and I see some of our graduates checking out their hoods. For instance, you'll notice that the velvet trim on the hoods we'll be placing over our students' gowns is drab for business administration. Someone needs to come up with a different name for that color. Digital investigation management, healthcare administration, and managing innovation and information technology. It's purple for law, gold for digital investigation science and mediation and applied conflict studies, brown for fine arts, and light blue for education. The color of the field and the color of the stripes or chevrons on the hood represent the school colors. The field of the Champlain Master's hood is blue. Thus we get to the symbolic meaning of the hooding ceremony. When these hoods are placed on the shoulders of these soon-to-be graduates in a very short time, the colors and design of the hood visibly represent both the discipline of the degree they've earned as well as the school that granted their degree. The pageantry and color of the regalia and ceremony remind us of our heritage and connection to the ancient scholars of Renaissance Europe, where the notions of education, learning, intellectual freedom, and progress first took form. The master's degree we're celebrating today, relatively modern educational innovations. The first master's degree was awarded in the United States in 1850. It wasn't until the 1940s and 50s when master's degrees were fully embraced by American colleges and universities. All of us move pretty slowly, except of course at Champlain College. Since that time, master's degrees have represented an interim accomplishment for those headed toward doctoral degrees or as professional development degrees that evoke advanced knowledge of a specialized body of theoretical and applied topics. We now move to the part of the ceremony that you've all been waiting for. President Finney, will you please take your place? President Finney, as Provost and Chief Academic Officer, I present to you the class of 2014 as candidates for master's degrees from Champlain College. These candidates will also be hooded as representatives of the disciplines of business administration, digital forensic science, law, management, mediation, fine arts, and education. First, President Finney, I present from the Stiller School of Business the following candidates for Master of Business Administration. Everyone ready? Jeffrey David Bartley. Judith Bennett. Randall A. Blanchett II. Samantha Bond. Trisha Guido Cote. Meg Courier. Brett Dewhurst. One of our wonderful Champlain College admission counselors. Megan Divanier. Barbara DeZettis. Allison Jensen. Zachary Patrick Karen. Lisa Liberty. Katie J. Manowich. Technical difficulties. Sandra McGuire. Michael Nelson. Matthew A. Reese. Jocelyn Stowell. Amy Walker. Austin M. Whitaker. President Finney, I present from the Division of Education and Human Studies the following candidates for Master of Education in Early Childhood Education. Charlene Chilson. Kara G. Collins. Amy Cormier. Annette Farrell. Pamela Ann Fontaine. Angela M. King. Aaron M. Langlois. Stephanie Labita. Jody LeBrun. Jessica Locke. Lisa Griffin Murphy. Jessica Titcomb. President Finney, I present from the Division of Communication and Creative Media the following candidates for Master of Fine Arts in Emergent Media. Erin Barnaby. Rebecca Colley. Kelly DeCastro. Christian Irali. Christopher Thompson. Raphael Titsworth Morin. President Finney, I present from the Division of Information Technology and Sciences the following candidates for Master of Science in Digital Forensic Management and Master of Science in Digital Forensic Science. Justin D. Howard. Arthur Gaudison. Deepak Parashar. President Finney, I present from the Division of Continuing Professional Studies the following candidates for Master of Science in Healthcare Administration and Master of Science in Healthcare Management. Shannon Clark. Lanaya Sandberg. John Bond. John is joined on stage by his wife, Julie, who is an Emergent Media Center staff member here at Champlain College. Michael Lance Boyd. Benjamin Clark. Allison Doenges. Edmund Lyden. Iola Shosanya. Nathaniel Woods. Give him a hand, Mike. President Finney, I present from the Division of Education and Human Studies the following candidates for Master of Science in Law. Jonathan Bellick. Gerald Burgum. Courtney Brown. Shanita Burnett. Gregory Davis. David F. Gratton. Madeline J. Maureen Renee Mall. Carmen M. Martinez. Douglas C. Masoni. Manushka Pierre. Jane Pills. Lauren N. Rivera Hare. Jennifer Smith. Serena L. Sumrell Jackson. Katrina R. Wallace. Anthony Michael Wright. President Finney. I present from the Division of Information Technology and Sciences the following candidates for Master of Science in Managing Innovation and Information Technology. Alan Belisle. Jason Cleveland. Matthew James Whitby. President Finney. I present from the Division of Education and Human Studies the following candidates for Master of Science in Mediation and Applied Conflict Studies. Benjamin Bosley. Lynn Ann Dunton. Mark Gable. Pause for hugs. We'll still let you graduate. Sarah Giannoni. Lynn Huntoon. Susanna Schweizer. big round of applause for all of our graduates. Just before we get to the really important part of the ceremony, I have some housekeeping items to review. Please join us for a reception in the IDX Student Life Center directly across the street. And please do not leave your places until the academic procession has filed out of the auditorium. Oh gosh, the tent. Next year we'll change that.
Too many short people here. Just kidding, just kidding. Would the class of 2014 please rise? You look splendid. Now, by the power vested in me by the Department of Education, the state of Vermont, and the trustees of Champlain College, as president, I declare that you are entitled to your master's degree with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto, and further, I certify that you are fully prepared to take your rightful place in the world of commerce and business. You may now turn your mortarboard tassels from right to left. Congratulations. Good luck.